Good afternoon. Welcome to I'm Woke. I'm your host, Jason Medlock, and we have a fabulous show for you tonight. We have Miss Kamri Cole, who will be with us speaking about her book. But you know what I want to talk about last week? I have a lot of inboxes. A lot of people have been expressing themselves over the actual guest I had, Chloe Mowers. She came on and she did some channeling and spoke about healing energy and Reiki energy and a lot of different things. And some of the questions were, Jason, if I was to try this, how would I even do it? I mean, how do I get started? And towards the end of the segment, once Cameron and I wrap up, I'll kind of go into some notes and some tips on how you can become a better channeler. But it all starts with meditation. We always talk about that. It all starts with calming your mind and making sure that your intent is for the greatest good of all. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce my guest, Miss Kamri Cole. And Kamri is an actress and a writer from Houston, Texas, and a graduate of Howard University. Her personal journey, she has learned the meaning of what it means to live in the moment and strive to help others do so. She founded an event series, Alchemy, designed to help women grow, heal, connect to their higher selves, and live in their divine potential. With newfound enlightenment, Kamri believes in elevating the consciousness of people and communities by connecting them through humanitarian outreach and empowerment. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest, Ms. Kamri Cole. Hey there, Kamri. How are you today?
Hey, Jason.
I am so
I'm
excited.
good. How are you?
Doing great. I'm very, very excited. We've played phone tag for a while, and I know that I had some other people trying to contact you, and I finally got on your schedule. And I know that you've been out there promoting your book, and I know things have been just kind of like a whirlwind for you. And I'm so excited that you were able to come on the show and talk about some of the things that you've gone through. And obviously, we'll get into why you wrote the book. But I got the sense when we had our first conversation that spirituality is just surrounding you, and that you're very, very into it, and you've figured out a way to integrate it into your everyday life and to help you become a better person. And then women empowerment has crept into some of your philosophies within this book. And this is an outstanding book, by the way. But I want to ask you, why did you write the book? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of hit it right on the head. Spirituality kind of did take over my life probably when I moved to LA after I graduated from Howard University. So, upon graduation and moving to a new city, I kind of had to rely on something, I had to have a strong foundation. And so my spirituality grew. And that was when I got the nudge to write my book, Moments to Myself, Living in the Now. And I was like, no, I'm not writing a book. Like, no, I'm not doing that. And honestly, it was just me feeling like having like imposter syndrome, feeling too young. I was 22 when I got this nudge. So I felt pretty um, inadequate to provide other people the knowledge that I had been downloaded with. And so it took me a while to get over that. It took me a few months to get over that and get rid of that. And what had happened was I ended up living out all chapters of my book. So starting from chapter 1 to chapter 8, from January of 2018 to July of 2018, I lived out every chapter. And it was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to write about. And I have to share this knowledge because I can't be the only one that knows these things. So, thus, cut to Moments to Myself, Living in the Now, being finally published.
Well, in your book, you take the readers on a journey of learning to live, in the moment. Can you talk about that a
Mhm.
little bit?
Yeah, so that's really what I ultimately want people to take away from my book, and that's really what it's all about is learning to live in the moment. And so what that journey is, it starts with authenticity and knowing who you are, not who you think you are, but who you truly are on the inside, and knowing all that you are capable of. Because if you don't know just all the things that you're capable of doing, then you kind of end up living beneath your potential, which is we want to go against that. So learning to live in the moment is really just learning about being present and learning to really just live fully in every moment. So you don't come by and life just passes you by, and you're like, well, where did all this time go?
I know I was reading your intro, and this line caught me because I've seen several references to this particular line in the introduction. It says we've been taught that we are separate from God
Hmm.
and that power is above us, but it's actually within. And that's a very powerful statement. Can you tell me where that came from?
Yeah, for sure. So I have a background of growing up in church. I've grew up.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay, I think we lost Camry. Yeah, I think she may have frozen on
In
us,
a
but
Baptist church in the
there we go.
sky. Okay.
Yeah, we lost you, but go ahead. I mean, it,
So
it
just
happens. We're online. We're
okay.
live, everybody. So just go ahead, Cam. Go ahead, Cam.
Um, yes. Okay. So I just always thought that God was just like hovering over us in the sky. That's just what I grew up thinking. And as I matured in my own faith, then I began to realize, oh, God is within. I have access to God. I have access to the power of God. So all the things that all the magnificent things that God can do, I have access to that by having a relationship with God. So this isn't a, oh, uh, it isn't a relationship that's here. It's a relationship that's in here, in the heart.
So you discussed about how important it is to be in tune with yourself.
Absolutely.
Those words sound really, really good. But how can people become in tune with themselves? I mean, is it a process? Is there some sort of step by step method that you come up with these strategies? How does it work?
So I would start it off again with chapter one, authenticity. You have to know yourself. That's just the foundation of everything. But really, to become more in tune with yourself, there are things that you can do. There are tools that you can use to become more in tune with yourself. For me, I grew up writing. That was just a way that I could tap into my emotions, my raw emotions, and express them um, pretty freely. Another thing that you can do is meditate, which I know you're big on. I'm a huge advocate for meditation, and that is probably my favorite way to tune in, to tap in, turn yourself on. And another way, you can fast, you can just surround yourself in nature. Um, what you ultimately, the idea of tuning in is tuning into your higher self, tuning into your soul, tuning into who you truly are, and tapping into that frequency.
And you mentioned who you truly are in the book, quite a bit. But I
Mhm.
want to ask you this, Camry. Can you talk more about, or can you speak to the signs that we may see as a result of us tuning in? Are there any type of signs that we may encounter to help us understand if we're heading in the right direction? Can you sort of dive into
Absolutely. Yes. So one of the first things that I began to experience was synchronicity. And synchronicity, for those who may not know, that can look like a coincidence. Like you were just talking about your
yeah,
friend
yes.
Sarah. oh yeah, Sarah's cool, da da da. Next thing you know, Sarah calls you or Sarah texts you or you run into Sarah. That's an example of synchronicity. So those things begin to happen, which they're just so amazing and they usually result in very beautiful moments. Another thing that can happen, um, you can see like physical signs. Like I talk about this in my book, all the different the physical signs that I've seen, all the dreams that I've had that were literally speaking directly to me. I mean, some dreams are very symbolic, whether it
Mhm.
be with like colors or numbers or people or settings, like environments or places. Other dreams are very dead on. Like literally, I had a dream that I talk about in my book where God spoke to me and said, "All you have to do is be yourself,
Yes.
and you will be okay."
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. I do have to add this in. One of my friends was while he was reading my book, this is a true story. He had that exact same dream, or a dream where he was told that exact same thing the night before he read that chapter in my book, and he texted me and was freaking out like, "Oh my gosh, I just had the same dream." So those things will happen and that and all along with, like, seeing various numbers, like, numbers have meanings, and I talk about all of that in my book. You'll begin to see how things begin to just, fall into place, and you'll feel like you're in the right place at the right time.
Well, not only am I big in meditation, but I love dreaming, and we take for granted our dreams. Our dreams mean
Mhm.
the world to us. Our dreams show us glimpses of past lives. They show us glimpses of multidimensional lives that we've lived, and they are pushed into our subconscious to give us clues and hints about the way we should proceed with different situations. So dreaming is super important. But a minute ago, I said that you alluded to the fact that until you know who you are, until you truly find out who you are as a person. I want to read something um, in your book. It says we are all supernatural beings of light, having a human experience to express ourselves, godliness, love on earth. So how does one come up with a profound statement like that? But then I read also that this book is inspired partly by you and partly by God. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Mhm. So as far as in writing this book, I again had to tap in through just meditation, through listening, through prayer, through different means of
Yes.
communication with my higher self. And what I mean by this book was partly written by God is that I truly believe that I was just the vessel that, his words they flowed through me.
Yes.
So I wrote my book. I completely understand everything I'm talking about in my book and I stand by the things that I wrote in my book. However, there were moments where I was getting downloads, and I call them downloads because just as your computer downloads something really fast and then boom, it's there, that was the same thing that was happening to me. And it was like, oh my gosh, I should talk about this or I should write about this. Even
Yes.
the editing process, there were things that got added in last minute that it was just a download of, oh my gosh, add this in. And even though I've read my book thousands of times, even through the editing process, even now, I can still go back and read my book and something will hit me in a new way, in a way that it's like, oh wow, I needed to hear this. And these are my words. So that's just the beautiful part about how I feel God used me. And
Well, you froze up again. Again, I was going to ask a few more questions, but yeah, these downloads. We sometimes we think that we know everything. We have all the knowledge. Oh, I just came up with this great idea. I'm going to do this, but no, we receive downloads. We receive
writing.
yeah, you froze up a little bit, but I was filling in for you, Kamri. I was filling in for you. You froze up a little bit, but I was
Oh
speaking on the fact
no.
that we do receive downloads. I mean, we're not we shouldn't proclaim to have all this brain power. We have spiritual guides that work with us. We have guardian angels that protect us. When incarnation happens, we have a team of people that are around, And receiving downloads, we may think it's a bright idea, but Kamri is hitting it right on the money. But Kamri, before you froze up, I was going to ask you, how did this book change you? How did the book change you when when you wrote it? Did it impact you in any kind of way? Okay, looks like we Kamri's we lost her again. Um, but as I was okay, are you there? I got you.
I'm here.
Okay.
I am just it's so crazy.
Yeah, I think it's your internet. But what I was asking was, how did this book impact you after you wrote it? Okay,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Just go ahead and speak. We can.
Okay. Honestly, it completely changed me just throughout the writing process and even after I released it. So during the writing process, it just allowed or it pushed me to be more disciplined. I had to show up for myself and write on the days I did not feel like writing.
Right.
I had to open myself up so that I could receive those downloads as we were talking about. And I had to learn how to be more vulnerable because I grew up writing as my form of self expression. However, I always was writing to myself for myself. In this
Hmm.
case, I was writing for other people to read, for many other people to read. So I was like, I don't know if I should be this vulnerable about this story. And I just found the beauty and the strength in being vulnerable. And so after I've released my book, that vulnerability or that strength and that vulnerability has increased. And I truly feel like I've just shed off the skin of like worry and doubt and just all kinds of fear about like what people may think of me. And I think I just shed a layer of that off of me. And it just feels so amazing. So I feel a lot more authentic and vulnerable.
Well, that's what happens when you have a clear vessel, and when you start to
Hmm.
put high vibrating foods in your body, and you start to really hone in on that relationship with God, and tune in on your spirituality. You feel great. You feel like you're light as a feather. But I want to read one more of your quotes. When we create things we're passionate about, we allow ourselves to be a vessel for God's divine expression. And you mentioned expression a minute ago.
Hmm.
For the evolution of this world, we must find it as our duty to share our gifts and openly present our unique selves to the world. And in some ways, you didn't want to write this book, and you are. What moved you to include that particular passage?
Oh, that's everything. I, as a actress, as an artist, as a creative, I feel like everybody has creative gifts in some capacity, whether you're creating a business, creating art, creating a relationship, creating a family. You have these gifts that are creative, and I think everybody should be able to have the privilege to exercise their gifts. Because when you are exercising your gifts, especially when your gifts facilitate your purpose,
Yes.
then you are a force to be reckoned with and you are contributing to this world and making it a better place and making it a more loving place. So I think that everybody should use their gifts, use their talents. Um, and that I think it'll bring them so much joy. And then that's what they'll be able to give others as well.
So Camry, tell me, what was your favorite chapter that you wrote in this book, and why? I know what my favorite chapter was, but what was your favorite
I
chapter?
wanna know. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all the real. My favorite chapter was ego. It's my absolute favorite chapter. It was probably the mm, I wouldn't say it was the easiest to write. However, I had a lot to say, and I thought it was gonna be a lot longer. However, that chapter, I feel like I really just got to the point, and I called everybody out. I called myself out. I called um, I just called everybody out on all the things that we do to mask ourselves, all the things that we do to try to protect ourselves, boost ourselves, make ourselves feel good. I challenge everybody on just all the things that you do that build your ego and that break your ego. I just talk about one of the favorite things that I talk about was how we act out of ego to compensate for our pain. So, what that looks like is we'll try to date somebody or approach someone because that looks good because they are a good look for our ego, or our ego says, oh, they'll be a good look. And
Right.
so we try to shoot at them And we either experience an ego break because we got rejected, or an ego build because, hey, we got their number. Like, hey, I must be doing something right. And so, God forbid we're rejected, then we try to compensate for our pain and make other decisions that are rooted from that same place, ego. So, what that looks like is, well, maybe I'm unworthy of this person. Maybe I should lose weight. Maybe I should get a better job. I need more money to appeal to other people. And so, one of my favorite quotes in the book is, we all want love, but how can we expect to receive love if our decisions aren't rooted in love? So, ego is my favorite chapter. I think everybody needs to hear a little bit about themselves.
Well, you can guess what my favorite chapter is. My favorite chapter is In Tune.
Oh,
Because
okay.
in that chapter, you give so many different angles. I mean, well, different techniques on how you can be in tune. And obviously, you
hmm
start with meditation, and you say another way to go. Another way to get in tune with yourself is by meditation. Meditation is the act of transforming the mind with techniques that help you align and connect with your highest self. And then we keep talking about higher self, and I guess maybe people are saying, "Well, who is that?" I mean, you mean my higher self, but you actually can connect with your higher self through channeling. I mean, you can connect through with your higher self through meditation. So you have a lot of different things. You have visualization, you have mantra, calm your body. Can you talk to us about those steps and um, you know uh, how one can use them?
Yes. So there are so many different ways that people can meditate. I think how my meditation started in the beginning looks different from how it is
Yeah,
now. In the beginning,
mine
I
too.
definitely had to, I definitely needed a guide to help me meditate. It started off from a friend, then it went to, hey, YouTube. Um, and so ultimately, what you want to do when you meditate is you want to focus on your breath. Calm yourself down, get in a very relaxing place, and you just want to breathe.
Cameron, how
Um,
important is the breath?
oh my gosh, the breath is, I'm
Everything.
alive. The breath is, oh, I'm present. The breath
Yes,
is,
yes,
it's the next moment.
yes.
The breath is, it's everything. So being in tune with your breath, um, it just allows you to connect with your soul, connect with the thing that's keeping you alive, essentially. And so you can count your breath: one, two, three, four, five, five, four, three, two, one. You can, when I say comb your body with your breath, what I literally mean is, imagine you're breathing here, inhale, exhale, and then you go up a little bit further, inhale, exhale, and you are literally combing your body with your breath, and you can feel it on your hairs if you are really paying attention. You just imagine your breath or your brain being in your feet, to your ankles, to your knees, to your thighs, to your hips, all the way up to your crown. And that will get you to a resting state where you can do so many other things and go to so many other places. But that's just like the basis of it.
And I just missed. We have our audience out here watching us, and I just missed one of the comments was from Tosca Medlock Lee. She says vulnerability is strength.
It
Um,
is,
and
absolutely.
it really is. I mean, you and really in connecting with God, connecting with any sort of spiritual being or whatever, you have to have empathy. You have to show that that you have care and love in your heart, and being vulnerable is a part of that. So visualization is another piece of my favorite chapter. Okay,
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but visualization. Come on.
No, you just sparked a little something in me, because that's, yeah, I love that as well. That's kind of where my meditations will go now.
Uh-huh.
They're very visual, but go ahead.
No, I want to let people know that they can purchase a copy of your book, and I'm going to add it to the stream right
Oh,
now.
nice.
Purchase your copy at www.camerycole.com, and the title of the book is Moments to Myself. And again, we're not going to ask you how old you are, but obviously you're younger, and you have all of this knowledge. And you said a minute ago that um, you were a little bit afraid about writing this book because you just didn't want to maybe seem like you were trying to tell people older than you how to live or how to be in touch with themselves. But sometimes, I mean, you just have it, and when you got it, you got it, and people will listen regardless. Um, I'm going to share your website as well. So this book, let's talk about this book. Okay, so what was the biggest takeaway you want the audience to know about the book after reading it? What's the biggest takeaway that they can hang their hats on?
The biggest thing I want everyone to know is live in the moment. Seriously, live in the moment. It's something that it took me a while to truly, truly understand, but the moment is so powerful. The moment is all that you have, and learning to live in it isn't just stopping and smelling the roses. That's beautiful. However, that's not the whole thing. Learning to live in the moment is really learning to be present. And I think that that comes with knowing how to be in tune to what's going on, what's being spoken to you, knowing, having confidence in yourself and knowing who you are, knowing all that you have to do, having that vision of where I'm going. Okay, so I'm walking on my path. You may not always understand why you may be led to go somewhere, but having that confidence, having that faith, um, and then just being able to get over your ego, that's like a huge thing. And really just learning to be present. That's just so important because it just erases a lot of doubt. It erases a lot of worry. It erases a lot of fear that we have, and we can live in gratitude. So it's a simple but complex but simple idea. Just live in the moment.
Well, can you offer any mantras? I know that you also speak about that in your book, and I do mantras. I do the 42 words of Mayat, and I do them 3 times a day. So, do you have any mantras you can offer your audience?
I would honestly say whatever it is that you feel like you need to hear. So if that is you saying, I am enough, I am love, I am worthy, um, I am light, or if there's something that something else that you want to affirm about yourself, I would encourage you to say those things. But you can start there with, I am love.
I am love. I am light, and that really helps though, because that's really basically how you have to start off with any of the manifestation techniques. And you also cover manifestation in the book. You kind
I
of dive into
do.
that a little bit.
I'm sorry.
I see you also cover manifestation in your book. Do you care to dive off into that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. I think that so what manifestation is, it's seeing something in the supernatural and it manifesting in the natural realm. So it going from the non-physical to the physical. So you have a dream. Oh, Martin Luther King, I had a dream that one day manifested. So what you can do to manifest things is you believe what you see ultimately. So if I see myself um, with, let's just, people like money. Let's just say I see myself getting $1,000 tomorrow. I don't know. And actually, let's make it a little more realistic. Um, Actually, I mean, that's pretty realistic.
Yes. Yes.
But, um, it's seeing something, you can close your eyes, you can see it, you can feel it, you begin to exude the emotions that you'll have when you have the thing. So if it's a better job, that's what I'm trying to manifest. Then I imagine myself with a new job. I imagine how happy I'll be with that new job. Maybe I'll feel more secure. Maybe I'll feel more safe. And then I begin to visualize myself seeing that, or I write and affirm, you know, myself having that, uh, and then I also don't worry about it. Like I don't present any negative emotions to that, because then that's the disallowance that gets in the way of a lot of people's manifesting process. It's the, oh yeah, I see myself with this, however I'm scared how this is going to work, and you can't have both. um, so it's seeing yourself with this and then allowing it to come into your life. It's the allowance part that it's really, what we all should focus on, just allowing everything to come to us that we are wanting.
The most powerful thing in the universe is thought. The worst thing in the universe is thought. If you have
Thought.
positive, it's the same thing. You have
Yes.
positive thoughts and you consistently put those out there, and you keep a clear vessel, eating high vibrating foods, then your manifestation techniques or whatever you're doing to invoke the law of attraction, it will absolutely work. Cameron, am I telling the truth? It'll absolutely work. But if you have,
You're telling the truth.
yeah, if you have thoughts that are, maybe I'm not good enough, or I'm just so mad at my neighbor, they just make me sick. I mean, you're not gonna manifest a darn thing. Nothing's gonna happen for you. You have to keep positive. But I have one more thing I want to talk to you about, and it just I took this in my channeling course. And I read it in your book, and it just jogged my mind. I'm like, okay, wow, I'm reading this, and just right here in the copy, and I'm like, okay, Kamri's very, very, very deep. Outside of the book, Kamri's deep. Okay, here it is. If you're trying to connect with spirit guides, you may awaken your third eye and envision a source of light beaming through it. Now, I've been practicing on my third eye for the last week and a half, just by using a
Hmm.
candle. Okay. And I've been, trying to open my third eye chakra. For those who are wondering what we're talking about, if you're trying to connect with spirit guides, you may awaken your third eye and envision a source of light beaming through it. Have you had that experience? And if so, share it with us.
Yeah, I have. So during one of my meditations, during a lot of my meditations, um, depending on what I'm doing, if I'm trying to connect or if I'm trying to just open up my chakras, I once I'm gotten to a resting state, then I will focus on my third eye. For those who don't know, it's right here,
Hmm.
right in between your forehead, and I will envision it. Sometimes I'll play around and I'll like awaken it by imagining a butterfly flying right here. And if everybody, you can do this with me. If you take your any finger and you barely touch your face, like you're just right before you touch it, you can feel your own energy, right? And so if you imagine another being that close to you, right in your third eye, then it'll produce a tingling sensation and it'll begin to awaken it, like, play with it a little bit. And so, another way that I will open it up is I will imagine a light shining on my third eye. And then that kind of opens up a path for me to connect with my angels. And we'll go from there.
So, and I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, wow," but that's absolutely right. And those are the techniques you use. But my teacher has me to stare into a candle for 2 minutes, and then the candle light, and then close my eyes for 3 minutes, and thinking or having an intention, obviously for the greatest and highest use for all. And then open my eyes and then look into the light and speak to it for 2 minutes. And those are exercises in addition to what Kamri is speaking of, to open your third eye chakra. And once you do have it open, then you're able to communicate freely. But Kamri, this has been outstanding. Your website is CamriCole.com. What are there anything on there you want people to know about? And also make sure you give out your handle, your Twitter handle, your Instagram handle, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So here's my book. You can, oh, it's already on the screen,
Yeah.
obviously. So yeah, you can purchase it for 14.95 on my website at CamriCole.com. You can follow me on all my socials, Instagram, Facebook, at Kamri Cole. Twitter is, I believe, Kamri Cole underscore. Um, so yeah, that's where you can find my book, Moments to Myself, Living in the Now.
And I want to thank you. But um, do you have one last um, piece of advice or anything that you'd like to share with the audience before we end this?
Yeah, for sure. The first thing that just came to me, which I know I've heard this so many times and I'm going to relay it, is really learn how to be yourself. And it's very old, but there's a lot of power in who you are and like the things that you bring that nobody else brings. So I would just tell you guys to find peace with who you truly are
All right. All
and
right.
work to become the better version of yourself.
All right. All right. Well, Kamri, I want to thank you for coming on, and um, I'm very, very excited about your career as an actress and as a writer, and now as author as well, and spiritual advocate, enthusiast. But we want to thank you again, and for coming on Woke, and we'll see you later. We'll see you the next time.
Mm.
When you write the next book.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to come on any time, any notion of you have something that's itching and you want to get it out to the people. This show is about just having a casual conversation. And I know you came on to talk about the book, but the book has a lot of qualities for empowerment, but more so, very, 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 very strong nuggets of information on spirituality. And
Hmm.
Kamri is the real deal. And I encourage you guys to go out there and get the book. But Kamri, thank you so much. And we're going to go ahead and let you go. But guys, I want to double back from our show last week, and I want to go ahead and give you some of the tips and some of the meditation sequences you can use when channeling. Um, I read several messages in my inbox, and I just said I'll put some stuff together for you, and you can listen to this broadcast. You can over and over until you can pick it up. But again, meditation is the key. Kamri, we just spoke about that a minute ago. Everything she does, she bases it on meditation. So if you're trying to channel, you have to know that medication is the key. Now, channeling could take you a long time to really, really get down. You have to understand how to decipher between regular messages that you may get from your subconscious, which is your human side, and then messages that you may receive from the spiritual world, from spirits, from your higher self, from dimensional beings, and so forth. You must have empathy in your heart. This is one of the tips. Make sure you keep a pure and clean heart, and make sure that there's not a lot of hangups with people who are suffering, people who are going through things. That you show that you care and you have a lot of love for them. Um, and simply learn how to channel by trying over and over. You just have to, get in a quiet place, and you have to maybe have the host. I mean, you are the host, but have the person you're channeling with to meet you in your heart space. You can channel from outside of the body, or you can channel within your heart space, and this is your heart space right here. So you can visually imagine yourself at the top of your chakra, your crown, walking down or on an elevator, going all the way down to your heart space. And once you get to your heart space, you can, meditate there and invite a positive being in for a conversation, or to ask what they like to channel through you for the greatest and highest use, for all. Let go of attachments. I'll just put some quick notes together. You have to let go of all attachments when you're trying to connect to God or to whoever. Lay down. And when you are attempting to make a connection, you have to have intent. You have to choose to make this connection. So make sure you have that intent when you lay down, and say to yourself, I'm going to try to connect with a loved one, or I'm going to try to connect with a higher being. But make sure you have intentions on exactly what you're intending to do. One of the things that has helped me is to stop thinking that you're a human being, but that you're a spirit. You know, just the visualization that you are spirit raises your vibration and it raises your consciousness. And beings like to connect with higher conscious beings versus lower vibrating beings. So just by that thought alone, it helps you raise your vibration. They will fill you with light and love, meaning that when you are connected, when you're attempting to connect with these beings, spirit guides, spirit groups, they will fill you with light and love, and you fill them with light and love, so that you always are sure that you're connecting with a positive being. Always fill the room with light and love. Um, you must choose to experience us, meaning that you have to give gratitude and you have to give permission to experience a different connection with a higher realm being. So you must choose to experience us. How to get results, you have to choose to acknowledge what you experience when you lay down. So to get the results you want, make sure that you choose to acknowledge the experience that you want when you lay down. While channeling, you must listen to the contact. If you are fortunate to be connected with a contact, you must listen. You must build a relationship. Ask what they like, ask what they dislike, and tell them all about yourself, and they will offer you the same. So it's really a casual conversation, and this conversation you could be having with God, with any of the angels. But make sure that you're always trying to move towards a positive and higher being. So, for your third eye, you can also use music, 422 megahertz music, or you can use the binaural beats. The binaural music is good for meditating. That's the resonant sound of the earth, 422 megahertz. So you can use that while you're meditating, trying to open up your third eye chakra. Okay. And those are just some notes I put together. I had quite a few inboxes after we did the last show on channeling, and I thought that I would put together a few things for you and share them. So, but again, I am excited about our guest. I mean, she was absolutely fantastic. Kamri is truly, truly, truly blessed, and she's packed with a ton of spiritual skills and a spiritual awareness. But when you read her book, if you're woke, when you read her book, you will see what I'm talking about. Obviously, she's in communication with the higher realm and her higher self, and she's being guided towards a path that's, quite frankly, outstanding. And I like to see that with young people. I like when young people express themselves that way. Mostly the young people are running around here woke, and we are the older guys. We're just catching up to them. So I just think it's absolutely wonderful. But again, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. You've been listening to I'm Woke. I am Jason Medlock. I'm your host. But remember, purchase your copy of Moments to Myself from Kamri Cole. And, and also, if you want any information about our shows that we have, or you want to find out where you could listen to audio or listen to previous shows on video, you can always go to www.jasonmedlock.com. Okay, www.jasonmedlock.com. And there's an archive of some of the other podcasts and some of the other video shows. So, but I want to leave you with this. Make sure that, when you're moving through life and you are attempting to find out who you are in trying to identify your higher self, just remember, in this show, we're fluent on a lot of different topics, but remember to center yourself with meditation. And we say that here all the time, but meditation can actually pull your life together and allow you to observe your life at a still moment, allow you to make changes, allow you to come out of any sort of troubled patch, any sort of area of concern in a relationship. Is when you're able to slow it down and when you're able to be still, you'll be surprised at what you hear and what you can gain from it. For instance, you can lay down for 5 minutes and then get up and then write down everything that came to your mind. Well, on the left side of that paper, it's going to be a lot of junk items, bills, and I hate the girl at work and stuff like that. On the right side, there may be a few things that remind you of love, anything that's very pleasant. Okay. But once you repeat that step over and over every day, you then begin to see that spiritual messages are coming to you on the right side of the column. Yeah, you will still have the everyday things that are in your mind, but you'll start to see those other messages on the right side of the column that you're filling out after you wake up from the 5 minute meditation. More and more and more messages will be there. So, and those type things can help you shape the way you're going to live your life. And it only takes 5 minutes every day. But I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. You have been listening to I'm Woke. I'm your host, Jason Medlock. And until next time, next Tuesday, we have another special guest. I won't reveal it just yet, but it's going to be that this show next Tuesday will really, really, really be interesting. So you kind of got the twist and the flavor on what we do here. So again, thank you for tuning in, and you guys have a great night. Goodbye.